Uh. Oh, hey. Who turned the camera on? Oh, God damn it, my alarm just went off to start the stream. uh, I'm ahead of you today, alarm. So, today I wanted to try something new, which was narrating the game like I'm a dungeon master. Um, Rather than just simply playing it and let the game tell me what's going on. Will this go well? I have no idea, nor do I care. I'm going to focus first on combat, maybe. I already did this, so I don't know why the game has reverted like so, as such. Bleh. Oh well. Interesting, it doesn't save until after you leave this. That was a bad sneeze. I'm glad I muted myself in time. Holy smoke-a-loni. Alright. That needs to be upgraded. Weird might need to. I don't really have a button I'm hitting a lot on Leper other than just Chop. So I guess Chop should be upgraded. Sky Spaghetti's already done. Weird doesn't need to be done. Weakening Curse might actually be really good. Vulnerability Hex could be really good. Both of these could be really good. That stuns when you're empowered? Dude, why do you kick ass? Actually, you know, I don't want to use my empowered on this. I want to use my empowered on my Abyssal. Alright. Retribution. I use that a lot. And then Battlefield Medicine. We'll do Weird. Alright. Wainwright.
The next stop is leagues away.
Yeah, it's weird that didn't save this progress. But you know, it's okay. I can hit all the buttons again real quick. In items, right. That
Conventional fare, but fairly priced.
I'm just trying to remember everything I did before I closed down the streamline right now. Which, you know, apparently I did everything I needed to and then didn't save it for some reason, so that's sad. That could be useful. How bad is this relationship? I can take that risk and watch it bite me in the ass, because Darkest Dungeon is... Okay. Wow, I just got shafted on that chance. Alright, and then we
Rain,
were going
fire,
to
and rot. Is there no sanctuary from this madness?
the sprawl.
Our great cities burn. All that beauty.
We have to go to
knowledge,
3 assistance encounters.
ash on the wind.
Alright, so. I really want to know how to pronounce Barristan Baldwin. I don't know how to pronounce his name. Oh. Google, how do you pronounce that name? Holy frick. Pronunciation. Yes, how to pronounce it. I don't want to... Alright, I'm gonna have to mute my computer for a moment to actually play this. Alhazred. 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 And Paracelsus. Paracelius. No, Paracelsus. Paracelsus. Alhazred, Barristan, and Baldwin. Man, I'm going to fuck this up a lot. We're going to journey onwards. So, I guess we might as well start the whole gimmick of the stream now. The bumpling, bouncing. Oh, maybe I should probably mute the in-game.
Behold,
Yeah.
the great cities of man,
Options.
ruined and aflame.
Oh, I'm so sorry. I am so sorry, Wayne, but we're gonna try this. The cart makes its way across the rickety bridge, the smoke so thick you can barely see ahead, the flames reaching high into the pitch red sky. Before you is a choice of 2 roads, the destination, however, unknown. But you know that you must keep moving. You check your map and you see. On the right, there's likely a place of refuge for some folks, but on the left is a old library. Perhaps saving some books may be the best to help out around here. But you have a mission. Save lives before you save simple items. And unfortunately, that mission is going to take precedence. You know that you're going to have to set off to the right to accomplish such tasks. The wagon driver spurs the horses forward as you take the rickety coffin of a carriage down the black streets coated in soot and ash, past horrific effigies and dismembered corpses, to find yourself upon a burning pile of literature and history. Fanatics, it seems. What do? You could spare some wealth, I suppose, and try to bribe them to ignore your presence. Alhazred? You wish to begin an ambush? Alright. Well, because you're taking the initiative here, they will all start with a blind condition. They are still in the middle of their smoke, after all. The immobilist casts a spell to invigorate the whipper. It seems like it is not a concentration spell, however. Alhazred, You were the one who wanted to initiate combat, so it's your move. What do? You do have a strength token from your items you used earlier. And you notice that Berenstein and Baldwin are currently blinded. So you should probably do something to help them if you have the option. You didn't prepare that spell today? Sorry. Well, there is a sacrificial in the back, and her ladyship. Alright, you're gonna go for the Abyssal Artillery. I do not doubt that move. Unfortunately, the sacrificial's lantern blocked some of your attacks, so the spell was less effective against them, but you did significant damage to the two of them. Baldwin, you are blinded. It is very unlikely you're going to hit anything this turn. You're going to throw your scrap grenade at him. It still matters that you're blinded. Alright, well. That risk probably paid off in the long run. You clear your blind token and you clear out some of their dodges. And because that was a free action, you still have your normal action. Alright. You lay down a thunderous smite with your broken greatsword, it was? Yes. And deal significant damage to the fanatic flayer. Paracelsus, your turn. And you are going to do what now? Plague grenade the back. Okay. You throw your concoction of bile and acids over the shoulders of your companions, and it cleanly lays damage to your foes. The Flayer steps forward with a thunderous stab. Paralysis. You've jumped in the way of this, apparently. Taking the hit for Alhazred. He is dead. Okay. With a taunt and a squeal, you taunt the enemies. You bait the enemies into focusing their fire on you. Berenstain. Paracelsus. You are going to concoct another. Okay. You take another one of your concocted grenades and throw it over the shoulders of your allies. It soars high through the air and actually critically strikes the sacrificial. That was a very, very strong hit. In fact, I think you've probably killed it with dot. Berenstain. You are still blinded. You continue taunting the enemy, putting yourself out in front and in a bit of an exposed position in order to focus their fire upon you. And you know all attention is on you. Baldwin. Despite your blindness, you lay a heavy hit for 9 damage upon the Whipper. It felt your hit, but still seems to be in fighting condition. Alhazred. Whispering a dark chant, you summon forth a eldritch creature of an unspeakable name to pull forward her ladyship to the second rank. The Flayer Berenstain just did a shearing lunge towards you. Thankfully, your riposte did activate, but you do miss the attack, whiffing as its tall spike-like legs help it avoid your reach. Alhazred, her ladyship Once again, you mumble the dark enchantments to bring forth the tendrils from another world to pull her forward, closer to the party. She is on death's door, gasping for breath, some of the fire of her fight extinguished. Barringston, you take forward with your mace. You step forward into a strong, firm crush. The shot connected, and you feel much better for it, but it did not take her out. Paracelsus, you throw a blinding concoction of gas and powder over the shoulders of your allies. It hits the ground in front of the flare and ignites into a spark, but it averted its eyes before it was able to do much damage. Baldwin. Before you is a flare. It stands on stilts. It's hard to hit, but you're gonna try anyways, I suppose. You land a really solid blow into its torso, hitting against its melted flesh, but it does hit a riposte upon you. Its spiked forearm cutting into your arm. The whipper does in fact hit you, Barringston, for moderate damage. All of you are starting to feel the fringes of the fire upon your shoulders, and Baldwin, you are certainly ignited. The flames are creeping their way up your back. This fight goes on for much longer, and it'll get through your clothes. Paracelsus, instead of one of your grenades, you instead opt for the mixture that you keep in touch for closer engagements. This noxious blast, in fact, is just enough to push her over the edge of death's door. Barrington, before you use the flare. It's definitely holding on to a very hair of life, but with a solid crush, it steps easily out of the way of your swing and retaliates with a burning skewer upon poor Baldwin, who is in fact actually on fire now. Even more so on fire after the whipper unleashes a barrage of flame and fumes. Baldwin, you are not in a good condition. However, you are still fighting. With a low swing to high, you catch the flare off guard, catching it in the leg and severing the limb completely. It falls to the ground unmoving. And as part of the swing, you even step forward, clearing out the corpses of enemies before, bringing the whipper to the full bear of your entire team. Alhazred, you cast a hex upon it, which weakens its next attack and allows others to do their work. Although the fires are getting quite high right now, people, you probably want to start considering ending this combat sooner rather than later. Especially you, Baldwin. The flames have definitely gotten underneath your armor. And Barringston, you're not feeling much better either. That metal armor of yours is starting to turn into an oven. A solid crush, you deal a whole 7 damage. It does help you feel a little better about the situation, having retaliated. Paracelsus, your battlefield medicine skills are applied to help extinguish poor Baldwin's flame condition. Baldwin brings down his huge sword. I mean, the thing's gargantuan, even though it's broken, and quite cripples this whipper for a 13 damage strike. Alhazred, you critically heal yourself, mumbling and speaking forth the dark words that would knit your flesh together. The worms exiting this interdimensional portal and sewing themselves through your skin to close your wounds. You heal for 7. Barringston, you take your mace for a solid hit and deliver the coup de grace to this whipper, crushing its head in and ending the combat. Amongst the burning pile, you find quite a few books of knowledge and tales from the past. You found some gold on one of the corpses of her ladyship, and you found some burn salve in a nearby car. You all load back into the coffin that is your wagon. You set off once more. However, you should consider what items you're going to... Alright. Baldwin is equipping the burn salve. Alhazred, we're taking a pouch of lye. But typhoid is not making you feel good, Barringston. As the cart bumbles its way down the soot-covered roads, you find a group of looters set up at a roadblock. You climb out to engage. Alhazred, you open with a dark incantation, allowing tendrils of pure energy to sink from the sky, dealing a significant amount of damage to these ranged enemies. Baldwin, you are blinded right now due to your condition, so you move in with a hefty chop, but he does step out of the way as you couldn't keep good track of him. Barristan, you are blinded from your condition, unfortunately, but you let out a mighty taunt and a roar. You take your usual position at the front of the formation. Paracelsus, a concoction of bile and acid is cleverly curved into the back rank of the enemy formation, blighting both of them. The bandit comes in for a low blow. The wound's a little deep and it's actually bleeding a bit. And just as you thought you were done with that one, the other one steps in for another one. One of the bandits in the back pulls out a large two-handed blunderbuss and blasts you. The blow is stunning. It makes you stumble, and you're currently out of position. And everyone's yelling at everyone, please calm down. Are we done? I think we're done. Okay. Alhazred, what would you like to do? Alrighty. We're going to keep momentum. With a quick incantation and a look of pure anger, you slash this man's throat open with a dark tendril of energy that you summon forth. Barringston, you are quite angry for what they did to your friend. First, you apply a healing salve to yourself to close up some of the wounds. You're still bleeding, but for now it will hold. You take your mace and in a moment of anger, you deal 8 damage to the bandits in the front. Baldwin, you are still stunned and dazed. You are shaking your head as your turn has passed. Paracelsus, you come forward with the the cloth woven concoction of gases and oils. The bandit marksman fires a odd type round at you, Al-Hazred. It hurt a little, but there were no other ill effects. Barristan. Before your 2 bandits, one of them looks to be perishing soon. He might actually retreat from the fight. The other one is completely fresh since the beginning, untouched, surprisingly. Despite this flurry of blows. With your mace, you take in a powerful swing for a solid 5 damage. The bandit does look a bit shaken, but he'll keep fighting. Al-Hazred, you have quite a bit of assistance with this next attack. You probably won't kill, but you will do a lot of damage. Take your dagger and you slide it in between the chinks of his armor. You didn't really have much chance to avoid that one. Baldwin, you take a moment to reflect, clearing your blind condition, reducing your stress. Feel a bit better about this fight, but clear. It was a big hit, but doesn't mean you have to let it irk you, so. Paracelsus. Paracelsus, you apply your battlefield medicine to the man-at-arms, closing the bleeding instead of just having a bunch of salve globbed onto the wound. Al-Hazred, you apply a weakening curse with a dark incantation upon the remaining bandits. Baldwin. Realizing this fight is over, you take a moment to practice solemnity, making sure that you are going to be the clear-headed one in all of this. Paracelsus, you continue applying medicine. The wounds are looking a little bit better than they were before, but he'll need probably actual medical treatment at some point. Bottom you sure to bolster your team, reducing stress, making sure to take up a good defensive position. And Al-Hazred, you go in for the final stab, killing the bandit through the throat with the dagger. The blood's gushed out a little bit, but nothing like until you actually pull it out. It's a little stream. It's kind of disturbing. Alright, time to advance. Soot-covered roads and cobblestone greet you as the clopping of hooves upon the pavement fills your ears as you pass grotesque imagery of what you assume to be civilians, a corpse mutilated and mangled, hung about as some sort of macabre decor. As you happen upon a desperate few people still alive, what do? You focus to trade. You have some funds and you are in need of materials, and they are willing. You gain some food, some supplies. Before you, use a choice of 3 roads, 3 paths. Seems a lot of you want to go down the path you do not know the fate of. Onwards is a fight. You can see the burning pyre of books and literature in the distance. You know fanatics tend to gather around such things. And there will be little reason for them not to be there this time either. Between the spikes and fencing and metalwork and melting books and building, there are fanatics, piles of flesh. What do? You've all agreed to fight. Okay, then. Al-Haris, you're taking the lead on this one. You found an advantageous position that allows all of you to strike with greater strength. A good formation. Dark summoning and evil incantation allows you to summon forth great tendrils of energy. Holy shit! One of them goes straight through her body. Her ladyship is almost dead from just a single blow. The sacrificial's metal... I forget what that's called. The sacrificial's flame holder, I wish I remembered what that was called, blocked some of the damage. Paracelsus, a concoction of acids, poisons, and is thrown over head, spilling upon them. Her ladyship is already at death's door. Any blow could be fatal. In a moment of rage and as retaliation, she lets loose some chains. They're still hot and smoking with the soot and ash. Paralysis, you are blinded. Barrington. You yell taunts and insults at the enemy, ensuring that they will focus their attention on you. Baldwin. You stand at the front, a greatsword in hand. Let loose with a chop. A singular strike, cleaving the enemy in twain. Their formation is broken, but they are still fighting and giving it their all. Al-Hazrid, you let loose a blast of energy, double critting the back line. These tendrils of dark energy slashing and thriving, destroying everything in their path, simply removing them from our known universe and pulling them into the next. Barristan. You are currently blinded, but you do have their attention. What do? You attempt to hit him upside the head, but he simply slides out of the way. The smoke's a bit too thick here. You're gonna have to readjust your position for a better angle. Baldwin. Despite the smoke, however, you are able to land a very solid hit, carving a solid chunk of flesh out of your opponent. Paracelsus? You attempt to let loose a blast of noxious gases, but the smoke sort of dissipates it. The Whipper, in fact, ignites himself. Flames flickering off of his already melted flesh and metal. All has red. You take a step forward with a defiant stab, catching him upside in the head and through the eye. The fight is over, and you have won amongst the dead corpses. You find some books and sacred scribblings, some gold on her ladyship. The scribblings cannot burn. You toss aside the sneaker standard, for it has no more purpose to you. Before you a choice of two roads, but you boldly go down the road of unknown end. Seems to be safer with the building just a little bit further away from the road. Despite this, the crumbling city environment is quite discerning. Eyes painted upon banners cast upon fire, and smoke is pretty inescapable here. You find yourselves upon another burning pile, fanatics gathered around, reveling in the end of the world. All has rid, despite your protests as the combat. Barristan steps out first, guaranteed to begin the combat. Before you stands a mound of flesh, metal, and pouches. It seems to be some sort of pit fighter. Barely recognizable as human at this point, more as a glob of meat. Almost cooked to perfection at this point. Flames are sprouting off of his edges. Despite this, you cast some abyssal artillery over to the immobilist and the whipper, dealing significant damage to the two. Veracelius. A concoction of powder and gas ignites from your hand, blinding the two. Baldwin. A powerful chomp, leaving a sizable chunk off of his shoulder, almost ending the life of the whipper, but he's just hanging on there by a strand and a thread. Barristan. As usual. Begin shouting insults at these melted pieces of steak, ensuring that their attention is firmly planted upon you. The pit fighter does a left punch and a right punch, both of them knocking you around, not giving you much chance for response. The immobilist seems to have empowered him with some sort of strength spell. Oh, has red. Your dark tendrils once again attack the back line, making short work of anything that dares stand in their area. Baldwin. You go for a simple upslice, carving your way through any corpses and obstacles straight to the heart of the enemy formation. Barristan. You step forward with a mighty mace throw, bringing the immobilist to death's door. She likely will not survive much longer. Paracelsus. Your fumes burn her down, she simply curls up in a ball and perishes. Barristan, you take a punch, the might of which you have not felt for eons. It's such a horrific assault. Alhazred, you are now find yourself a little bit too close to this pit fighter for your comfort. But you go in for a stab, find a weak part underneath his arm. But as retaliation, you see a giant fist coming in to close this chapter of your life, and then Barristan steps forward, shield in hand, deflecting the blow for you. That was a close one. Baldwin. You toss back your healing self to Baldwin, allowing him to put himself out, and you step forth with your greatsword and deliver a mighty swing. Not the most damage you've ever done to an opponent, but nothing to be scoffed at. Paracelsus. Using your indiscriminate science practices, you are capable of helping Barristan see again, clear him of stun, and heal him. Barristan, you step forward, shield bash to the head of your opponent. You dealt some damage, but you mostly just stunned him. The opponent steps forward, swinging back, hitting Alhazred in the face. Ow. His metal gauntlet heated to quite extreme amounts. Alhazred, you are the only one to go before him. It'll be quite the moment. A weakening hex upon his form, although it certainly helped resist some of the damage that came forward, but he comes in with another punch. 2 punches, 1-2, each into Barristan's armored body. Thankfully, he's holding up somewhat. Paracelsus, you start to apply your... You throw a dazzler over at the enemy creature. It doesn't stun it, but he is a little dazed, and you apply some medicine to the burns on poor Barristan. Baldwin, it's a little hard to see right now, but as such, your chop simply strikes the ground with a thunderous sound as the large pit fighter deflected it with its gut burst, and you attune yourself to a position, taking the front of the formation, ensuring that at the very least you will be the one hit, and not Alhazred. Alhazred, you feel an unchecked power beginning to grow within you. If this grows much further, you'll begin to ignite. You step forth for a stab, hitting a soft part but not getting a whole lot of meat. Paracelsus. A concoction of powders and noxious aroma has set him on a coughing fit. Who knows what sort of damage that did to his insides. Barristan, you are blinded by the smoke, and as such your crush simply strikes the ground beside it. A massive hit, hitting you in the jaw, sending you staggering backwards, but you're not stunned, not yet, not here. Thankfully you were prepared for such a strike and did manage to catch some of it on your armor. Baldwin, you are blinded by the smoke, but you manage a solid hit, chopping it down one hack at a time. It's at death's door now. Despite that, it comes in for a swing in which Barristan hastily parries, and then goes in for a crush of his own with a side swipe to the head, felling the beast. You find some loot amongst the wreckage, however you can't take it all with you. So you decide to leave some behind. Onwards you go. You ride. Wheels of the wagons kicking up soot. The torch, the last hope of the world, burning brightly upon the top. You feel as if you could actually make it through this sprawl of fire and madness. Before you is a map. He has a wagon full of items and a backpack of hoarded collectibles. He's gibbering madly, but as you approach, he starts asking what you have to pay with. Seems he's some sort of trader. Of his bubbles and trinkets, some catch your eye. Are you going to purchase any? Oh man, I need to rest my voice for a moment. Alrighty. I should probably take the dartboards and the candles. We have to go right to get 3 mastery points. Yeah. I have no way of getting to this creature den. I can go to the watchtower on the very last node. That's really funny. Alright. Before you lie 3 choices. Yeah, you hear cries for help and desperate pleas from down the road. A wagon driver takes off in a fury. The horses doing their best to pull the cart. You find yourself coming to an underpass with a roadblock of sorts. Seems you should prepare yourself for looters and opportunists. As you approach, you see they have a fucking cannon. The gray metal is ungiving and unnerving. All has red. The dark tendrils of power and might sprinkle forth from the ceiling, slashing and devouring. Aracelius, you toss forth one of those pyrotechnic devices, stunning the cannon operator, and you throw a concoction of acids and blight forward. Barristan, you take your usual position at the front of the formation. Unfortunately, blinded by your condition, you will still do your best. And you do successfully strike a riposte against the bandit who so dared to hit you. In fact, you've gained an extra turn because you have that extra eyeball in your pocket, and I don't know how that works. I really don't. But I like it. You yell, "Come on then, give me more. Give me another." Baldwin, you are in a unique position. You make a strike against the cannon itself, hopefully trying to break its tires, although the iron welding is fairly tough. So you're not going to get through it quickly. Barristan. You were attacked by the fire starter, but you know what? That's fine. You get another damn turn somehow, and that's real spicy. You come forward, big mace crashing into his torso, knocking him around like he's a... Oh, I'm not gonna say that one. Knocking him around like he's a ping pong ball on a ping pong table. Yeah, that's what we'll say. Paracelsus. You throw concoction blinding powders into the back of the cannon, hopefully making it so that that fire mouth really can't do much. Baldwin. You go for another solid strike on the cannon, cutting deep into the woodwork, hopefully preventing its use. Alhazred. The dark tendrils of your abyssal artillery reach down and rip apart the fire mouth. However, the cannon is still operational despite being greatly damaged. Barrington. You go forward for another taunt, another... You are having the time of your life up in that front line. The cannon is loaded, and it seems to have been pulled back slightly into a more defendable location behind some barricades. It'll be hard to get to at this rate. Paracelsus. You start working down the barricades that have surrounded this vehicle, hoping to perhaps whittle down its defenses. Alhazred. You just start hacking away with your knife, hoping to do something. Barrington, an entire cannonball bounces off of your shield, and you step forward and make a solid strike to the framework of the cannon. And you then step forward because that cannonball has motivated you to just say, "Shut the fuck up, cannon," and you hit it downwards with a mighty crush, its operator pissing himself in fear. You won. One of you find a chain shot with some spikes on it, and you realize that it's a spiked ball. You could probably use that later, and you find a bottle of booze on one of the corpses. You gear up and you set out. Wow. Behind it you see a camp of people who are being corralled by these bandits. They thank you greatly. Although, you seem to trade for some of the funds that the bandits had stolen from them. Questionable hero tactics, but you know what? I'm not here to judge, I'm here to narrate. They give you an assortment of supplies and goods that they had no use for. You take to the right. You've heard rumors of an academic study up ahead, and you feel that it would be beneficial to stop there. A place of research and curiosity. And there it is. It still stands amongst the flames, although it does look a little worse for wear. You go in to see what you could salvage. You find a basement of sorts. It'll take some time to search this area. Alhazred, you lead the charge, opening the basement. What you find down there is a trinket of odd power, of some familiarity. Fortunately, you do not wish the negativity associated with such a item. Before you, not even around the corner, is a huddled group of skin and bones. These are the hopeless, those cursed by the ending of the world. Al has read. You decide to bring a merciful end to their little ambush with your dark tendrils and attacks. Persalius, your blight does seem to catch hold, but not as effectively as what you would like. Barrington, you step forward, trying to get their attention, yelling, berating. But the horror of their figures is starting to get to you. For you've seen what these people are and what they're going to become. Baldwin, you attempt to hit with your axe. Your greatsword, sorry. Though the large woodsman comes forward with a surprising amount of speed and agility, stepping out of the way of your shop. Al-Hazred, you drop some more abyssal artillery, the dark tendrils thrashing about, ripping apart these poor souls. Though the woodsman pulls one of them out of the way, an odd act of compassion in this fevered battle of dying people and heroes. Versailles, your plague grenade only really catches the axeman. It doesn't quite reach the back line. Baldwin, you take your large two-handed sword. You go in for a stab, hitting center mass on the Grey Woodsman. Al-Hazred steps forward with a stab of his own. This is a major damage to his body. He probably won't make it survive another one of those. The wailed and pained moans of the creature behind him, however, are stressing some of you out. It's a little haunting seeing such a previously human figure so neglected. Sorry, I was making some rolls for what was going on. Al-Hazred, you go in, decided to put this thing out of its mercy. A quick stab across the throat and it drops to the ground, unmoving, silent, thankfully. Barrington, you're not looking too hot right now. You decide to apply the healing salve to your wounds. You're still bleeding, but it'll hold you together for now. You're blinded. Take your mace, trying to swing, catch this thing off guard, but you miss. It blocks it easily with your axe. Baldwin, you step forward, a great sword cleave. You hack into its leg. It falls to one knee. The thing is almost down. Paracelsus, you step in forth, throwing a glass vial into its face, into its eyes, the acid eating away. It screams, thankfully cut out when it expires. You find some lanterns and some gold amongst their belongings, but you decide to hurry on your way instead of taking too much time here. You set forth, knowing that you're going to be into a fight. Fanatics. All of this around there is their handiwork. The scattered piles of books upon the road being brushed aside by the passing of your wagon as if debris on the wind. You step forth to the burning pyre. Barristan, you step forward, while the rest of the wagon unloads itself, and pay off these fanatics. You need not fight if you can pay your way out of it, combat at least. The rest come up expecting a fight, and the fanatics retreat quickly, allowing you safe passage through. However, before you, another roadblock. These looters and opportunists are getting more bold. Seems the deeper into the city you've gotten, the worse this has been. And they won't let you through without a little bit of grief. Before you can even say a word, he steps forward and tries to shank you in the gut. You step aside, but the wound is bleeding. Al has red. Tendrils of dark energies, one of them reaching down, ripping the head straight off of one of the gunmen. The other one injuring the axeman significantly. There's Salius. You take a vial, acid, concoctions. You step forth and gently apply it to the face of your opponent. He doesn't even see it coming. He takes a full faceful. Once again, another shank over onto you, Baldwin. You're not feeling too hot. You've got quite a wound going. Barrington. You step forward with a definitive crush. A solid 6 damage, as the man is knocked a little off balance by the sheer tenacity of such a hit. Baldwin, you go in for a chop. A single slice, cutting straight through armor. The only thing stopping you from cleaving him in half is his spinal cord. He falls to the ground, lifeless and limp. Al has red. Simple stab, but you didn't even really have to hit him that hard. Between the poisons and the tendrils, he was barely holding on. Baldwin, just as you're done getting your sword unstuck into your shoulders, a great axe chop for a critical hit, 15 damage. It was not fun. Barrington, you come forwards with a crush. Not a solid hit, but it was a hit nonetheless, still doing some damage at least. Paracelius, a noxious blast in the front row. You've applied this acid to him. He's starting to feel the burn. He's backed into a corner. He has nowhere to run, and he's now at your mercy. Baldwin, with a single thrust through his torso, you've impaled him, stuck him straight to the wood behind his sword. You have felled your opponents here and today. Hopefully, this was in some name of making the road safer for others to escape this sprawl of flames and destruction. You find some gold on the dartboard. They had some sort of camp going on here. Looks like they were operating at it for a while. Further along the road, you find some refugees trying to hold together whatever scraps of humanity they still had left. You trade with them, acquiring some items of use. However, you can't take it all with you. You don't have enough space. Just decide to discard some of the unneeded food items, as you had quite a bit of bread actually, and apples and cheese. You give it back to the people, and they're somewhat thankful for it. You approach the crossroads, and before you is a shrine, a place of memory, reflection, and the past. As you peter on down the road, past the horrors of the present, some of you remember your dark and unfortunate places. The things you've done, the places you've been, and the places where you will be. Ghosts huddled together in the tight rickety wagon. There's not a lot of space. For you, the Shrine of Reflection. Alright, so let's think. Who do we actually want to put through this? I think I'll do the leper, because I don't like his... I like his kit the least. Step forward and consider your past, O King. Chapter 2. The Infection. Early signs could be ignored or concealed, but soon the reality was inescapable. Whether by some affliction of lineage or direct transmission, symptoms of incurable disease began to openly manifest themselves. Racked with pain, he summoned doctors and aides from the farthest reaches of his lands, all of whom concluded the worst. The king was dying. I'm sorry I'm no Wayne June, but... revenge. Alright. Onwards. Before you, a tower, a pillar of dark occultist energy. You know it'll be the Guardian. The thing stopping most decent folk from leaving this area. You, on the other hand, you're not decent folk, nor are you most folk. You'll be able to get through. By force, or by wit. You are at Oblivion's rampart. The enemies here seem to be a little bit more sturdy. Their dug-in position allows them to not be so easily stunned. Al-Hazred, your usual opening of dark energy tendrils seems to work somewhat, but they are deflected by the brazier upon the sacrificial's head. You bolster your allies, a rallying cry, ensuring that all can see that you will be at the front of this fight. Baldwin, you come forward. You're blinded by the darkness in this area, but you manage a solid hit upon the whipper. Paracelsus, you realize that there's probably going to be a lot of unfortunate damage coming from the back rank, so you flick one of your classic grenades over there, causing significant harm to the back rank. Al-Hazred, your tendrils are continuing the dark work, ensuring that your opponents can no longer threaten you. As they pull one of the unfortunate enemies into that dark dimension that they spring forth from. Paracelsus, what do? Realizing that the toxins will take care of the sacrificial, you turn your attention to the enemy front line. A blast he dodges, but you set him up to be thankfully targeted down by your allies. I really don't think he should be able to ignite and then do a thing. That's just kind of silly. Interesting, despite your readiness, the onslaught and pummeling that you're receiving is a little bit more than you're normally used to handling. You really can't get in a good retaliation hit. Baldwin, you have a clear shot, and by God you make it count. Once again, you put the blade underneath his shoulder and rip upwards, slicing his arm off and cleaving halfway through his skull. He crumples to the ground, his melted flesh sinking into the floor. But you don't have long to celebrate your victory. A skewer of sorts slicing through his body and into yours. You didn't see it, but it was the flare. He was waiting for an opportunity to strike. Paracelsus, the flare seems ready to parry any sort of attack, but you bravely step forward. hitting him with a stunning blow of sorts, and stepping into, or not, stepping in with a plague grenade hit, but his retaliation does still come. Al-Hazred, you know what you must do. You go in for a curse, a hex, ensuring that he cannot escape Baldwin's next attack. Barrington, you ensure, instead of pushing on an offensive, make sure to take a defensive stance, ensuring no one can be hurt. Baldwin, you go in for the attack. If you can kill here, this would be very good. Which you don't, of course. You are ready for the retaliation, however, and it does less damage to you. Al-Hazred, you go in for a stab. It wasn't much, but it was definitely enough. Alright, I don't think there's much to do here other than try and farm some... I really don't need the money, I don't think. So I'm just gonna leave. You clear out just enough to make an advance forward. You just simply count your blessings that you got out of there. Over encumbered again. And make your way past, and you see forward beyond a haven of sorts, an old inn that seems to have been fortified against these fanatics and occultists. A safe haven for you to rest. You park the wagon, you feed the horses, although in the background looms the mountain ever closer. Holy shit, Baldwin got vicious. That's probably the best thing. Oh my god. I wish I could lock that in. Alright. Sit around the fire. Although its familiar flames bring no comfort, despite your... previous... Because of your previous, regional problems, the flames bring very little comfort. But the dark room is safe. It's secure. Before you is a map, and you know the path you will have to take. And to my stream, thank you for watching. I will probably try this again Monday. I very much enjoyed doing this whole narration thing, and I think it was good practice for me to go 1 hour and 13 minutes to do this. Let me know what you think. Let me know if you want me to do this again. And let me know if there's anything I can do better.